Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. That's right, it's me, Dave. I have gray hair. I've got a gray beard. I wear glasses. I have a green shirt like the guy in the artwork, but I'm not wearing it today. How are you? Glad you're back with me. Yesterday, we were talking about music in 1977 and the TV shows and and the movies that we got blah, 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 theme songs from, right? And they were pretty cool. They were really, really, really were. But there were other things that happened in 77 that I wonder if you remember when you were younger. Apple II computers were first launched. The first Concorde flight took off. Elvis Presley died in 1977 at the young age of 42. Gosh, it seemed like he was older, but I guess he wasn't. He was 25. Do you believe that? What an amazing, what an amazing guy to have done so much for so long and be gone at such a young age. Now, there's always stories about Elvis and, the drugs, the women, all that kind of stuff. But, for a kid who come out of Tupelo, Mississippi, and then later moved to Tennessee, to Memphis with his family, he had quite the career. Heartbreak Hotel, rock and roll. Rock around. Love Me Tender. Viva Las Vegas. Blue Hawaii. Jailhouse Rock. Man, he was amazing. And his estate, the Graceland, sits in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's gorgeous. I've never personally been in it, but I've seen the tours on TV, the documentaries and everything. But yeah, he was quite the guy. And the girls loved him. The girls loved him. I was talking a little bit also about some TV shows that we were talking about, and here's some that I want to know if you remember. What's Happening was the name of the show. Let's see. There was Mary Hartman. That was a weird show. Really was. The New Avengers was cool. The Scooby Doo Show. Oh my God. And guess what else came out that year? The Gong Show. Do you remember the Gong Show? Oh boy, I don't even know what to say about that or how to describe it. If you don't know what the Gong Show is, folks, do me a favor, go and look it up. It was it was a talent show with three judges and this goofball of a host that I swear to God, he was high all the time. He had to be high. Oh my gosh. There's a TV series out back then called Rich Man, Poor Man, Book 2. I found it interesting because it was about two brothers. My dad and I would watch that together. And there weren't a lot of things that my dad had a lot of interest in sharing with us, but he liked that show, and I did too, so I'd watch it with him, why not? It was great. Just amazes me. I kept thinking about the Gong Show. I'm sorry. That guy was an absolute nutcase. A nutcase. Me personally, in 77, I was, you know, I was still working at the paper mill. I put in 10 years at the paper mill, folks. And then I finally had enough. I'd been injured a couple of times, nothing serious. Cuts here, I kind of mangled my hand up a little bit, but it's back. It's 100% now. It's not nothing. No remnants of the effects or anything like that. Kind of ran it through the press a little bit. So, and there had been some good and some bad things that happened at the mill. That I'm probably not going to go into any great detail about on this show, but it wasn't a safe place to work at times. You had to be on your game all the time, and if you weren't, it could be dangerous. Really could be. And I dated around. I was still going out to the bars when I wasn't working afternoons or nights. And of course, couldn't stay out too late when you're working days because you had to be there at 6:30 in the morning. So that really, and I'm surprised that there, for one, were so many people who were married or found people to marry during those years. We had the highest divorce rate between us, and there were two paper mills in town. Between us two paper mills, we had the highest divorce rate in the county. And I know a guy who got divorced and married his wife 3 times. I think the last one finally caught. I don't know. But the hours, it's hard. It's hard on the spouses. I remember my spouse just didn't make her happy. She knew it going into it though. See, that's the thing. When we got married, and I married number one, she knew because we'd been dating and living together for over a year because we knew we were getting married. And we dated for quite a while before that. And I'd been working at that paper mill that whole time, so it's not like it was anything new. And she was working for a large company, and she would work into the evening sometimes, but never as late as I did. Yeah, never as late as I did. So, you try to make the time that you're with them as happy as you can, but life happens, and life's not always pleasant, is it? So you go on and you do what you got to do. Anyways, that's what was happening back then. What was happening in your world back then? What were you doing back in 1977? This is Paul Harvey. Good day. No, just kidding. My dad used to, when he worked at the lumberyard, when we owned the lumberyard, my dad was pretty much in charge. And of course, as the oldest son, it was a family thing, though. And my aunts and uncle were also involved. But it was, he had this big old AM radio above his desk, on the shelf. And he was always listening to a radio station out of Detroit called WJR. And there was a guy back in the 60s and 70s called Paul Harvey. He had a radio show called Paul Harvey and the News. And then that was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that came on around noon or 1 o'clock, one of those two. And then at 3 or 3:30, he'd come back with, "This is Paul Harvey with the rest of the story." And those were the ones I found fun, because he would tell you about a story, and he'd tell you the rest of what's going on. Because in the beginning, when it's Paul Harvey with the news, it was just the news. But, he put his own little spin on it. And he had this way of talking. This is Paul Harvey with the news. But he was well trusted. He was also a forward thinker. He knew, he predicted some of the things that have happened in the world. And if you go back, what's happening now in the world, he kind of foresaw that. And it amazes me every time I hear it again. I'll find that and put a link to it in the show notes. Okay. Because I think it's cool, but I think it's important to understand that there were people out there back years ago who had an idea that things were going to get a little wacky. Now, if this starts to offend you and your nature, if you start to listen to this, please, I'm not here to make anybody upset or offend anybody, and I don't want to cause any, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers. If you don't like it, stop listening to it. It's not controversial. It's just Paul Harvey. So I hope that you'll listen to it and enjoy it. But other than that, folks, I don't have a whole lot else for today. Again, if you got any comments or concerns or questions for me, go to my website, 5minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. That's the number 5minuteswithgrayhairdave.com, and leave me a message. I'll be here for you. I'll answer your questions. Also, folks, if you know somebody who doesn't know what a podcast is or how to get one, download one, listen to one, follow or subscribe, show them for me. So on behalf of me and the loud little dog downstairs, who's not that little, his name is Ozzy. I've got a feeling it's after Ozzy Osbourne because he's even got those weird eyes. This is me, Gray Hair Dave, saying you all have a great afternoon, a great weekend, number 96 coming up on Monday, and we look forward to it. See you later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.